Welcome back, everyone. Today, we're unpacking an absolutely epic story of betrayal, duty, and some incredibly sophisticated ancient spycraft. Seriously, if you thought end-to-end encryption and covert ops were strictly modern inventions, you're going to be surprised to see how they did it thousands of years ago. We're looking at this pivotal moment where political maneuvering turns deadly, and survival depends entirely on being able to pass a hidden message right under the noses of the enemy.
Okay, let's dive right into this. How do you warn a prince of his impending assassination when you are literally surrounded by the king's spies? It's a crazy scenario, right? But this is the exact high-stakes life-or-death situation facing the wise elder, Vidura. The Pandava princes are being sent away into exile, but it's not just a simple banishment. It's a carefully laid death trap, and Vidura knows it. Act 1. The Bitter Farewell. The Pandava brothers are packing up, ordered to leave their home for the town of Varanavata.
Now, this is not just your average casual wave goodbye at the city gates. Look at this royal send-off. Bhishma, King Dhritarashtra, the illustrious Drona, Kripa, and Vidura. Beneath all the formal ceremonies, anyone paying attention knows the real score. The princes have been politically outmaneuvered by a king who just can't tolerate their legitimate claim to the throne. I mean, the sheer number of high-status VIPs bidding them farewell is staggering. They're taking their leave from the absolute titans of the Kuru race, which really goes to show the immense importance of these princes. They are total heavyweights in this kingdom, which makes their forced departure a massive shock to the public.
Moving on to Act 2, the Citizens' Rebellion. So as the princes set out, the energy shifts completely, and the public is absolutely furious. The citizens actually pack up their own things and start following the princes. They see right through this political facade, and their visceral anger is captured perfectly by the crowds. They shout, "King Dhritarashtra of wicked soul seeth no things with the same eye. The Kuru monarch casteth not his eye on virtue." Wow. They are openly calling the king wicked out in the streets. They're pointing out that while the king's late brother Pandu cherished them with fatherly care, Dhritarashtra is just totally driven by jealousy. The citizens are literally threatening a mass exodus, declaring they will leave their excellent town and homes to go wherever the sinless Prince Yudhishthira goes.
But right here is where you really see the intense contrast in leadership. Juxtaposed against this brewing citizen rebellion is Prince Yudhishthira's strict, unwavering adherence to duty. Even while he's afflicted with sorrow, Yudhishthira turns to this angry mob and calmly says, "The king is our father, worthy of regard, our spiritual guide and our superior. To carry out with unsuspicious hearts whatever he biddeth is indeed our duty." He calms the crowd down, asks for their blessings, and orders them to return to their homes. He absolutely refuses to start a civil war, choosing honor and obedience over rebellion.
Which brings us to Act 3, the encoded warning. All right, the crowds have dispersed. Now it's just the princes, their mother, and the king's spies lingering right there in the shadows. Vidura, the wise elder who knows exactly what the king is plotting, steps up to Prince Yudhishthira. He's got to deliver a life-saving message. So what does he do? He uses the Mleccha tongue. Think of this as the ancient equivalent of end-to-end encryption. It's a secret jargon or foreign language used specifically so a message remains totally unintelligible to spies and guards. Vidura doesn't try to pass a hidden note or whisper quietly in the dark. No, he speaks right out loud in broad daylight, right in front of his enemies. But because he switches to this specialized jargon, his message is completely hidden.
And the message itself is wrapped up in these complex riddles. He tells the prince, "He that knoweth there are sharp weapons capable of cutting the body, though not made of steel, can never be injured by foes." He keeps going, warning about the consumer of straw and wood and the dryer of the dew. I mean, to a spy standing 10 feet away, this just sounds like an old man rambling on about poetic philosophy, wind, and the woods.
But actually, scratch that. It is not philosophy at all. It is a highly practical covert survival protocol. Let's break down Vidura's steps here. Step 1. When given a weapon not made of steel, escape by making an abode like a jackal, meaning dig a tunnel with many outlets. Step 2. Wander the area to learn the hidden pathways. Step 3. Learn to navigate in the dark using the stars. And Step 4. Keep your 5 senses under strict control to avoid oppression by your enemies. It's basically a masterclass in ancient covert ops.
So Yudhishthira simply replies, in that same coded jargon, "I have understood thee," and then Vidura just leaves. Now put yourself in the shoes of Kunti, Yudhishthira's mother, for a second. She just watched this entire exchange go down. The crowds are gone, Vidura is gone, and she looks at her son and essentially asks, "What did they just say?" She points out that they were speaking so indistinctly
It sounded like complete nonsense to her untrained ear. She's desperate to know what just happened.
And that leads us right into Act 4, decrypting the message.
Now, what's really interesting here is how Yudhishthira looks at his mother and translates this intelligence briefing, revealing a truly terrifying reality. Here's how the decryption breaks down. Vidura's code warned of a consumer of straw and wood and a weapon not made of steel. Yudhishthira's translation? The mansion hath been built of inflammable materials. The consumer of wood? That's fire. The weapon not of steel? It's a house meant to burn. Vidura wasn't giving a philosophy lesson. He was explicitly warning them that the accommodation waiting for them at Varanavata is a literal death trap designed to go up in flames with them trapped inside. And that bit about the jackal's hole? That was a direct instruction to secretly dig a subterranean escape route.
Act 5, Arrival at Varanavata. The Pandavas now have the intelligence. And it's just fascinating because it shows how the tactics of deception, encryption, and situational awareness really haven't changed much in thousands of years. The source text grounds this whole epic myth in incredibly precise detail, giving us this eerie ticking clock for their journey. They set out on the 8th day of the month of Falguna. Nightfall hits, and exactly as Vidura instructed, they're navigating under the ascendant star Rohini. Finally, the timeline deliberately intensely culminates on their arrival day as they behold the town of Varanavata and all the people waiting for them.
So what does this all mean? The absolutely crucial takeaway from all of this is the sheer nerve of the Pandavas. They have decrypted the message. They know absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, that the beautiful mansion waiting for them is a combustible death trap, custom-built for their assassination. And yet, bound by duty and armed only with Vidura's survival protocol, they walk right in anyway. I mean, no way, right? The stage is totally set for a deadly game of cat and mouse. Can they dig the tunnel in time? Can they escape the inflammable mansion before the trap is sprung? It's a brilliant setup that leaves us desperately wanting to know what happens next. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember, keep your senses sharp.